Welcome to the NoPo podcast, your home for non-political news, with your hosts, NoPo founder Vera Gibbons and media commentator Mitch Roschelle. NoPo, news without the noise.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to our third NoPo podcast. We are the go-to resource for people who are sick of the political news. They want other news. They don't want any bias. They don't want any of that tension. They get enough of that on the airwaves. So we launched the NoPo podcast just a couple of weeks ago, and I am joined by my co-host, Mitch Roschelle and John Iannuzzi. The three of us have put this together for those who are looking for something different. They want to know what's going on outside the world of politics. And our mission has long been to educate, inform, and entertain. That's why we're doing this, and we hope you enjoy.
And you know what? I thought it would be appropriate. Hello there, everybody. This is Mitch, if you don't recognize my voice yet. We got a comment. We're now up live on iTunes or Apple Podcasts. We're also on two other platforms, YouTube being one of them. But we got a review on iTunes, and I thought I'd read it just because I think it's a little refreshing to hear that we're actually doing something that people like. It says, if you're weary of the political headlines and want to know what else is going on in the world outside of politics, subscribe to the new NoPo podcast, hosted by two news junkies with a great sense of humor and style.
Great.
I think that sums up NoPo perfectly. I'm gonna contact Vistaprint and make hoodies with that review on them for all of us to wear.
Did you get your son to post that?
No, that was not written by one of the DeSig brothers from University of Michigan. That was not. It was written by MJ. So if you're MJ and you're listening and you wrote that, there's a $100,000 bar going to be in the mail to you as a thank you for writing that. And for those of you who are new to NoPo and don't get the reference, last week we were talking about Halloween and what our favorite candy was. And we talked about the $100,000, formerly known as the $100,000 bar. And we got a lot of comments via social media about $100,000 or $100,000 bars. So figured that would be our candy of choice for the NoPo podcast.
I hadn't seen one of those in years, and our guest brought that up, that it was her favorite Halloween candy. And yeah, people have been writing in about the $100,000 bar.
John, what is I don't know if we covered it last week because we were short on time, but what is your favorite Halloween candy? What candy are you going to steal from your daughter this year?
Let's see, kale chips. No,
John,
honestly,
for those of you who are new to
the Swedish fish, it's a great backup. And I know that last week that came up. But I like you, I probably would go with some type of chocolate. There's a lot of chocolate that is by accident vegan. Like Oreos are vegan, which is kind of crazy because there should be milk in chocolate, shouldn't there?
What? So the creamy white filling is non-dairy
It's
in an
non-dairy,
Oreo.
sir. So that begs the question, what is it?
Yeah. How about the Twinkie? Because Twinkie has a creamy white filling that is also
Twinkie is not
dubious
vegan.
origin.
The cake itself has milk product in it.
Twinkie has a shelf life of like 300 years.
But you know what's interesting? When Hostess filed bankruptcy and the Twinkie disappeared from our lives,
People
tragically,
went crazy.
I was one of them. But I'm more of a Hostess cupcake guy than I am a Twinkie guy, but I digress. In any event, when it came back, it wasn't the same. It's good. Don't get me wrong, but it's not the same. I don't know if it's the trans fats that I yearn for or it's GMOs, whatever they are. But there's something about the old school Twinkie. And since they do have a shelf life if you found, like, if I could buy a box on eBay that are good 15 years old, maybe I can enjoy the Twinkie of my youth.
Partially hydrogenated oils.
We used to eat
Red
snowballs.
dye number 7. Oh,
we like the snowballs, the pink stuff with a sprinkled stuff on top. It was just pure delight as a kid. Pure
So
delight.
yeah, Swedish fish and some type of chocolate that is vegan.
So it's the dairy. So is milk chocolate, John, by definition, not vegan because it has the milk in it?
Correct.
Interesting, because I'm not a big
dark chocolate, which is and that's better for you anyway.
Yeah.
Pair that with like a port wine. In business.
I'm more of like a Reese's peanut butter cup
and a Miller
paired with a Red Bull.
Okay. That'll get you through.
And I'm just trying to
ride.
like dark chocolate. I know it's good for you, and I prefer milk chocolate or white chocolate and lots of it. But
I wonder what the audience thinks. So this is one of those opportunities for the audience to share with us their views on all things chocolate and Halloween. I guess this is going to air after Halloween. Sorry, podcast secrets revealed. We pre-record these. Everybody will be
knee deep in the candy, though. The bowls will still be full.
Well, I think there probably will have been, and this is a prediction that may come true, that there'll be less trick-or-treaters at the door this year. So if you are buying candy for would-be trick-or-treaters, you may find yourself knee-deep in Hershey product. And if that is true, let me know where you live, and I'm happy to come buy it at like 10 cents on the dollar from you.
And on the 100 grand thing, my brother-in-law did hit me up. He listened to last week's podcast, and he told me that my sister apparently has a stash in the fridge in Wilton, Connecticut. So
I don't like refrigerated candy, but I do believe, and maybe we can get into the serious aspects of the program after this, but I do believe that the 100 grand and the Reggie bar, if you recall the Reggie bar from your youth, as for Reggie Jackson's short-lived candy bar, I think they were actually the same product. It's just the Reggie bar was round, like kind of like a base.
Crispy rice.
Yeah.
Right? Isn't that what's inside
peanuts,
of it?
A little bit of nougat, some milk chocolate, and caramel. So I'm thinking that's not vegan, John, but what do I know?
It could be.
All righty. Vera, what do you got for us?
well, I don't even know where to begin after all this talk about chocolate and candy and Halloween, excess calories. But yeah, so we got the holiday season rapidly approaching. We're in November now. So I don't know who's going to be traveling or moving much. Probably people are going to be enjoying their Thanksgiving at home with just a couple people. But good news, Mitch, for you, because KFC's chicken scented fire logs are back. And they're expected to sell out. I'm sure you got one last year, and I'm sure you will be heading to Walmart to get one this year. I'm
going to give a shout out. I was on TV Live. I was on Mornings with Maria on Fox Business Network, 6 to 9 a.m. And Cheryl Casoni, a mutual friend of yours and mine, Vera, was doing the headlines, and she did a headline, this very headline. It was about a year ago. And I actually made a note. I wrote down on my show notes, go to Walmart and buy the thing. And by the time I went to walmart.com to order it, it was sold out. But this year I'm going to get it. I'm going to pounce on it. We're going to have a smaller crowd at the house for Thanksgiving, but I do light the fireplaces. And I think the smell of 11 herbs and spices cooking in the fireplace would really, I think it smells delicious to me. So we're going to fire up the KFC log. You're stunned. I'm stunned. Yeah, I'm stunned. I mean, you and everybody else, they love these things. So yeah, they will likely sell out again. Walmart's expecting them to sell out. I think they're about $15 or $16. There'll probably be like a limit on how many you can buy per person. Yeah, so you'll be sitting around with your chicken scented fire log. I'll probably be back down south. I came up here for a couple of family birthday parties, the birth of a new baby girl in a couple of weeks, not mine, my niece's. So I've got some family time. I took my first flight, which was fine. It was on JetBlue. Let me just say that what was nice about it was not a lot of pushing and shoving, nobody yakking on their phones, none of that. And I had nobody on either side of me. It was a great, relaxing flight. It is difficult to wear the mask for 2.5 hours. I will say that. But did you follow my hints from last week's episode where I encouraged you to nibble French fries for the entire flight?
I nibbled on some chips, some pop chips that they gave me, a popcorn chips, and took little teeny tiny sips of water because I didn't want to actually have to use the bathroom on the plane.
Oh, interesting.
But yeah, it was like a kinder, gentler experience flying. And the good news is that a lot of these airlines, not all of them, but a lot of them are going to stick to the plan for the foreseeable future where they're limiting capacity and nobody next to you in that middle seat. And it was relaxing, I have to say. And I was nerves were quietly, put at ease because everything was good.
Was it the Chardonnay that took care of the nerves?
Someone gave me a little gummy something to chew. The night before I left Palm Beach, a friend of mine said, "Take a little nibble of this gummy before you fly."
Let's see if that makes it to the final cut there.
Opens up sponsorship opportunities.
Yeah, I'm sure that they'll come running. Well, speaking of alcohol, Bud Light is launching a new ugly sweater themed variety pack of their new hard seltzer for the holidays. Flavors include apple crisp, peppermint patty, ginger snap. It seems like an interesting thing. The whole ugly sweater thing is fascinating to me, and now it's sort of leached into the world of adult beverages. But I give the Bud Light folks credit for really trying to theme out their product offering for the holidays.
It's good marketing, I think. It's good marketing. People still think the ugly sweater thing is fun, and people still probably will do it. We're no longer looking at our sweaters and our closets for the ugly sweaters. And this is what we're talking about prior to coming on, where, it used to be just raid your mom's sweater or take your dad's sweater. And now people are spending $70 or $80 for ugly sweaters. And maybe they will go buy some hard seltzer. It's certainly big right now. People are drinking up a storm.
Oh yeah, it's not just the kids these days drinking the White Claws and the Trulies and the hard sell. I actually like them. I do get mocked by some of my peers for drinking what they deem to be a child's beverage as opposed to an adult beverage, but I find some of those flavors refreshing.
I do too. I've sort of defeated the purpose though, because it's a hard seltzer and then I add a shot of something into the seltzer.
You make it harder.
Yes. It's not hard enough, I guess, but
all I know is that we bought a bunch of them at the beginning of the summer, and they're still out in the cooler out back.
Oh,
really?
So they're not that popular anymore.
People did not. Yeah,
there was no bid. There was no bid for the White Claw, huh?
You want them?
It's a matter of the price, John. Everything boils down to price.
Free.
You really don't like them.
I may have to jump on the Merit then and go raid your White Claw. Interesting. Staying on the topic, there is a new, we were talking about chocolate earlier. There is a chocolate flavored Prosecco coming out that Aldi is selling, but this is one that I found very interesting. There's a new wine coming out. It's going to retail for $20 called Shit Show. I don't know if you're going to end up bleeping that out in post there, John, but if not, that would be the first time that we
there was an award for that, wasn't there? But not if it was one of the hosts. I think it would have the guests.
the guest, it's like Groucho Marx, You Bet Your Life, say the secret word and the little duck would come down. That's a reference that I think about 5% of our audience will get, but
it's over my head. It's over my head.
I got it.
You got it?
Yeah, Groucho Marx had a TV show. It was a quiz show called You Bet Your Life, and he hosted it later in his career. The questions were insanely difficult. Like if you took like the Jeopardy Tournament of Champions and raised it to another power, that's how hard they were. And when you won like $100. It was like, I couldn't imagine like flying across the country, like in a middle seat, of a free ticket that they sent you to the studio. And then you managed to win You Bet Your Life and you get $100. That just seems cruel. But that was television in the 60s, I guess. Unlike podcasts in the 2020s. Well, I guess the last thing we're going to cover before, Vera, you introduce our guest for the week is not only the economy, but what the holiday season is going to look like. So many people have been shopping like crazy since we've been locked at home and with only Amazon as our entertainment. Because we binge watched the 5 shows that were on Amazon Prime. So then we started going on Amazon and just buying charging cables that we didn't need and exercise equipment that we're never going to use. But I wonder what this holiday is going to look like in terms of retail sales, because I feel like we've been shopping so long. Have buyers and shoppers and consumers run out of steam?
Well, there's been mixed forecasts on this, Mitch. I'm sure you've seen them. I follow them too, because you probably need them to go on air and for one of your segments on the networks. But yeah, so I've seen some of them saying it's going to be a bust. Others are saying it's going to be great because the wealthy are propping us up and they're still spending and they're buying on luxury. They're spending big time on all sorts of things. So I am going to go out on a limb here and say, I think it is probably going to be somewhat uneven, but I do think, providing the market doesn't totally tank between now and the holidays, because it was a rough week this week and a really bad October.
Week in the office. Yeah.
Really bad October. However, if everything comes back and, we're sort of getting used to these 600-point swings, it's getting crazy. But if things even out and the wealthy continue to shop, and they are shopping, believe it or not, it should be a pretty decent holiday season. It may actually defy expectations. I mean, the big bright spot, of course, is online shopping. People are spending ridiculous amounts of money on there. And some of those estimates say that, we're looking at a record-shattering $189 billion on online holiday sales. So huge amount of spending there.
Yeah, I just fear this holiday season could be a bit of a nail in the coffin for a lot of brick and mortar retailers, or as the real estate guy in me calls them, stick and brick. But not to be a downer with our guest joining us momentarily, but that's the thing I worry about, that this could be a really rough season for traditional terrestrial retailers.
Yes. Just like the traditional restaurants are struggling and that the restaurant chains are doing fine. You've got the traditional retailers, the mom and pop guys struggling, and then the Amazons of the world just killing it. So, yeah. And one thing before we introduce our guest. Toys. John, what are you buying your daughter for the holiday season?
So
if you're buying.
Go ahead.
No, I said if you're buying me something, Vera, I want the Rock'em Sock'em robots this year for toys.
That makes a comeback every year, by the way.
Every year. You can't go wrong. If you want to buy somebody, that's the greatest advice I can give you. If you want to buy somebody something for the person who you think has everything, you just go on and find yourself a Rock'em Sock'em robots, and that is fun for about 15 minutes.
Or until it breaks.
Well, that's why I said 15 minutes.
Yeah. But Vera, to answer your question, my daughter is now into a lot of arts and crafts, but she's destroying the house and her clothes, and arts and crafts are a messy business.
Messy business, but big business. If you look at Michael's and some of the arts and craft stores.
We live in those stores.
Yes. You and all the other parents have young toddlers. She's a toddler, right? She's a toddler.
Almost 3.
Yeah. So she's a toddler. But yeah, so toys are going to be huge this year. Arts and crafts, that stuff is going to fly off the shelves. Electronics, of course, because we're all at home and the parents are trying to keep their kids entertained in some way, shape, or form. So we shall see. But I guess it's time for me to introduce our guest because we're rambling on here and probably going over. So
I think she was drinking an adult beverage listening to us there.
Hopefully she's been drinking something and enjoying our chit chat. Every week we bring on a guest, and now we have on Bobbi Rebell. You have probably seen her on the air. She writes books. She's a personal finance expert. She's a certified financial planner. She also has a couple of podcasts. She hosts Financial Grown-Up podcast, and she also is co-host of Money with Friends podcast. And in her spare time to stay sane, I guess she plays a lot of golf. That's been keeping her somewhat sane. I'm not sure what she's drinking specifically, but I do know she's out on the golf course a lot like Mitch, trying to stay sane. And she's eyeing a move to Florida at some point, not in the immediate future because she's got kids and a few other things to sort out. But without further ado, Bobbi, welcome to podcast number 3.
3 is my lucky number because I was born on the 3rd of January. So this is exciting. So thank you for having me on.
Well, being that you're a finance person, your parents lost that tax deduction there by a couple of days.
I know. I know all about that. I know. I
actually have a friend who has twins that were born on December 31st, and he happens to be a CPA. And he must have gotten 1,000 cards when they were born saying you didn't just have a baby, you got a tax deduction. Everybody penciled in too.
Yeah. But yeah, anyone with kids knows you do not come out ahead on that.
No. So Bobbi, we want to talk to you about a bunch of stuff, but I noticed from your Instagram feed that you've taken golf very seriously this summer during the pandemic. but I have a fundamental question for you. Why?
Oh my God, because you don't, first of all, you don't have to wear masks when you're playing golf.
Enough.
So this is huge. We live in New York City. There are 5 of us, although we now moved out the NYU student, but it's crowded. Even as I tape this, I am not at home. I actually go to a workspace because I need to get away from the people I love most. So it was a great way, and still is a great way, to get out, frankly.
Do you go to like a WeWork space in the city? Or
it is not a WeWork. It's one location. It's a small space on the Upper East Side that is not that populated. So it's very safe for COVID. They're constantly cleaning. Everyone's very spread out. But I hope the problem, and it's like the airplanes, you want them to stay in business. So it's sort of a balance because it's empty-ish. So you want them to do well enough that they stay in business, but it's lovely. And I'm really grateful to have it. And it's good. It's a good place to be writing my next book and doing this. I'm in a little private sort of tiny room doing this. And I was able to bring my podcast equipment here. So it's been great.
Good for you. I've been playing golf since I'm 12 years old, and I make fun of the sport all the time, but I guess on some level I enjoy it. But I played more this summer than I've played in a long time, and I actually enjoyed myself this summer and won some money, which made it fun.
Ooh.
But once I get into October, I just start getting cynical and miserable and refuse to ever play the game again. I did do something interesting in golf this summer. I got a hole-in-one for the first time in my life.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome. What happens at your club when you get a hole-in-one? Because sometimes the hole-in-one, I don't know if Vera and John know this, you get to buy everyone at the club a drink.
You get to buy.
Yeah.
You get to buy. Yes.
You get to buy.
At some clubs.
Yeah.
So the way it works is every member is charged, quote unquote, hole-in-one insurance on the day that somebody has a hole-in-one. So technically, anybody who's on the club premises that day gets one free drink, but every member in the club pays whatever it is, dollars, and gets charged. So you might as well get the free drink. I got my hole-in-one in the middle of a golf tournament. It's a 3-day tournament, and it was in the middle of it. And my partner and I lost miserably, as we always do in this tournament every year. But the bright spot was the hole-in-one. The funny thing is, and I can get off of golf in a second, but we were playing match play format, and our opponent it was a par 3, had put the ball about 3 feet from the hole. And we were just assuming we were going to lose another hole. And I got the hole-in-one. He made the birdie. I made the hole-in-one, but we still lost a 9-hole match by 5.
Oh.
would have been worse if I didn't make the hole-in-one. So that's my golf story that John, you can feel free to edit out and post.
No, listen, people love golf. And now I think people are even watching like highlights. I found myself watching old Masters tournaments just to pass the time before baseball returned. Golf's all right.
You guys were talking about holiday shopping and everything that's selling and people buying stuff. The truth is golf stuff was selling out this summer because I hadn't played a lot before. So I really didn't even own clubs. I ended up buying our golf clubs, demo clubs, because they couldn't get clubs for me because there's such a back order on stuff. I mean, I had a really hard time finding ladies' clothing because a lot of it is, not in my age range in terms of what I think I want to be wearing, let's say. It's a little bit fuddy-duddy. So I think there's a big opportunity for somebody that wants to start designing a little bit better golf clothing. There's a lot of golf shopping going on because golf has definitely become a lot more popular because you can't do other things. There's not a lot else going on. Nobody's going to just other stuff. Nobody's going to a big birthday party, bar mitzvah, wedding, engagement party, baby shower. All that stuff is happening with 10 people instead of 50. So
and I think also
people don't have other plans.
I think also people feel safe in the club environment with the select few. And our tennis club this summer was very busy. There wasn't any socializing necessarily, but people like the cardio tennis classes, rackets were selling out, outfits were selling out. And then down in Florida, I feel like people are going to the clubs because of that safe environment, or at least the perception that it's safe because you're eating outside and you're with just a couple of people and everyone's sort of sticking to the mask thing. So there's that element too. But Holiday shopping, yes. What are your plans for the holidays, Bobbi? In terms of what are you going to be buying, other than more golf attire? If you can find something hot and sexy to wear on the course.
I don't know. I mean, I feel like I did a lot of shopping already because I did get, and I shouldn't admit to this because I'm supposed to be. You introduced me as a financial expert, but I have done quite a bit of online shopping because we've had less spending on other things. We're not going out. We didn't go on any vacations effectively. Yeah. We're not going out to dinner really. I mean, we ate at the club a lot, but there has been a lot of net savings on stuff. So we did a lot of sprucing up our house. We have 2 balconies that we used to have. For those of you who don't know, in New York City, when you have balconies and little kids, it's very dangerous. So we had furniture in front of the balconies to the point where my sister didn't even know I had balconies. I said, we furnished the balconies this summer. We're going to do it. Harriet, my 13-year-old, had this great idea. And she's like, you have balconies? I'm like, we have 2 balconies and they're not even that small. We got Home Depot flooring that we had installed, like outdoor patio flooring. Then my son had this idea. We have sort of fake hedges all around the edge. So it looks really pretty. When you look out, you see greenery now. We got furniture on each balcony and lights. It's great. And so it's like an additional room to our house. So we've been spending kind of nonstop. I'm sure I'll get suckered into buying more stuff. Maybe more warmer golf wear. Again, another area of opportunity. There's really not a lot to buy. There's some cute skirts and summer outfits, but the winter stuff is really not happening. Not a lot of temptation there. So big market opportunity for someone that wants to jump into women's golf wear.
I think if you've crossed into the golf world, it's high time you cross into the fishing world, because you need to find something to do when you realize that golf is terrible and you need like another thing to do. So I'll leave you with this. I was playing in a golf tournament many years ago. It was a pro-am with a PGA Tour professional. And we were talking about golf, and because what else he talked to, and he had no interest in talking about golf. All he wanted to do was talking about fishing. And he said, if I could do anything on any given day, the thing I'd want to do is go fishing. And it kind of sunk in, but more subliminally. And now I appreciate that. So I always have that alternative outlet. Fishing is a lot more fun. And I'm a very unique fisherman, because those of you who know me know my penchant for social media. I will actually post pictures of me catching nothing. Most people who catch fish post a picture of them and the fish. If I don't catch anything, I literally would post a picture of me with a rod and a miserable look on my face with nothing at the end of it. So at least I'm fully transparent about my day of fishing.
I will send Neil to go fishing with you at some point.
I'll take him.
If we can ever leave the state of New York. I don't know. I would love to go to Florida, but with all the quarantining and I want to keep my son in school, we can't do. You got to do 2 weeks on one end, 2 weeks on the other end. It's tough. Yeah.
That's got to break at some point. But since this is non-political news, I will leave it right there, because that's a rabbit hole that I'm about to fall into.
Right. And let's just ask Bobbi where people can find her.
Please come listen to my podcast, Money with Friends. You can be part of this show if you subscribe to our YouTube channel, which is called Money with Friends. Just search for it on YouTube, subscribe, and make sure to set the reminders. And you can get your questions and comments answered during the show. Get a shout out. Follow us on Instagram at Money Friends Pod and on Twitter. And then also please subscribe to Financial Grown Up, where you can check out Vera's episode. She was on the show. And please write reviews of both podcasts, Money with Friends, Financial Grown Up. I need them to keep going.
Bobbi, we have 1 review.
I'll go write a review later.
All right.
Am I allowed to write a review if I was a guest?
Yes.
I think you're allowed to write a review. You have Neil write the review.
I'll have Neil. Yeah, I don't think Neil knows how to listen to podcasts. I don't think Neil may not have read my book yet. I'm not sure.
I read the book that I think my name is in the cover. Do you have another one coming out?
I am writing the next one. It is called Raising Financial Grown-Ups, and it would be perfect for you, Mitch, because it's for parents of young adults that are first learning about money in the very real sense. In other words, getting their first paycheck, having to live halfway on their own in college, and so on. And it's about getting them into the real world of money. It was inspired by the primal scream of my stepdaughter when she got her first paycheck. By the way, at PwC, that's where she works.
Oh, my former life. Special. What's interesting is my financial grown-up experience with my children is a sentence or a text that begins with, "Dad, can you Venmo me?" The text is even gone. It's just gone purely to the Venmo request. The subtleties of Dad, can you please Venmo me is gone. It's just a Venmo request that shows up.
Yes.
So yeah, I'm going to make everybody read that book.
Thank you.
All right, Bobbi. Well, thanks for joining episode 3 of the NoPo podcast. And you are an experienced podcaster yourself. So we are blessed to have you with us. And hopefully we can learn something from you as we travel down this road of podcasting, because you've been very successful at it. So thanks so much for joining us. And thank you, everybody, for joining us. John's got another amazing pair of Elton John glasses on today. If you follow one of us on social media, we always post a picture of the 4 of us and our guest. So you'll be able to check out John's Sally Jesse Raphael glasses this week. So
he's gone from Rocket Man to Sally Jesse Raphael.
Sally Jesse Raphael. Now, John, find the song.
I worked with her for a few years, by the way.
Did you?
Great radio host.
So you're going to have to find a song for the close that ties into.
I don't know if it's Sally Jesse, maybe her theme song.
Whatever that was. Dust that one up. But thank you all for joining us. We will. You will find us on iTunes now. You can find us on YouTube, and you've probably found us if you're hearing my voice. But tell all your friends. Give us 5 stars. Write a review, and we will see you next week on the NoPo podcast. News without the noise.